Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Yellowstone Season 5 premiere. This is episodes 1 and 2. This was long. This is basically just like going and watching a feature-length movie.
Yeah, I'm really excited that they dropped 2 episodes at once. It's seemingly like a lot of streaming services are doing that these days, where they're like, we're not going to give you all to binge, but we'll give you a couple episodes right out of the gate. And I'm really happy that they did, because I did not need it to end with that cliffhanger of everything that was happening with Monica and her son and a car crash. Like, I would have been like, is it next week yet? No, if they gave us another episode.
These episodes, let's just sort of tally off everything that they did here. There's death, tragedy, new characters, new schemes, John being a very entertaining governor, also quite possibly a terrible governor at the same exact time.
Or the best governor, who knows?
Listen, I know there's breaking news to all of you. Neither Jess nor I have occupied any sort of political position in the past. We don't
Nah.
really know how it works.
Nah.
I'm guessing it doesn't work like this, but whatever. Okay, before we go further here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're going to be here with you guys talking about Yellowstone this season. Hopefully, we've got craziness at the ranch, beyond the ranch.
Yep.
Who knows if they're going to set up a billion spinoffs like they did last season. So just hang out with us here so you don't miss anything.
Also, follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV.
Okay, let's just start here with John stepping in it in so many different ways. I'm sure there will be people in the comments that are just going to be like, in response to that, like, John knows what he's doing. He's building up towards his end game at the ranch. And it's like, yeah, sure. I understand that John is really doing what he can to secure what he believes is the future at the ranch. But it feels like every single season with this guy, he is taking a gigantic acres like wide band-aid and just putting it on the ranch and thinking that this is going to stop it from eventually bleeding out, and it never really does.
I found it really interesting that, yes, he's now the governor. He
Yeah.
really doesn't want this job. He basically just took this job to make sure that Jamie wasn't doing this job, because while Jamie, might do some things that he wants, he knows that Jamie wanted this airport to come in because he felt it was the only way to really kind of save some of the ranch, that it was going to be a way to not lose everything. But Jamie's not going about it in any way that John was going to be fine with.
Yeah.
And there was one thing that was said that was so interesting, which was basically like, John can make some real changes here because he does not care to be reelected.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want it. He doesn't care. And because he doesn't care, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. He can just go ahead with it. However, he was also reminded that he needs to at least care about the people who can do him some favors. And by the end of these 2 episodes, he was, all right, I'll kind of grease some palms here.
He's starting to get a part of it, and I get it, John. There's nothing that you would like more than just to like sit out on that patio, overlook the beautiful scenery.
Me too.
Yeah, no, we all understand, John. But guess what? You're the governor now. And by the way, I spent the majority of this off season thinking that they were going to find a way to, rope Jamie into being sort of like the puppet governor, where he's just like out there giving speeches when he's really like, hi, I'm actually John Dutton. But no, they decided not to do that, which is probably smart because, yeah, Jamie would probably eventually go rogue and just like cause all sorts of chaos in that world.
Yeah, let's talk about Jamie. So when we last saw Jamie, he was carrying his dead father, and
Yeah.
Beth was like, "Jeez." So he's under her thumb at this point, and John knows it as well. He doesn't know everything, but he knows that Jamie is controlled at the moment. But we have seen over the seasons,
Yeah.
Jamie has been in these types of positions before, where he's just been, controlled, and then he just kind of breaks loose and he just can't take it anymore, which is just a normal human response.
Yeah.
And people can only take so much before they're like, and I'm done. Woo! So that's the kind of the problem here, where Beth is really grinding it into
Yeah.
him, even though Jamie in these 2 episodes has been playing ball. He has been giving his dad the best advice that he possibly can give him, that it's not all necessarily selfish or whatever. He's trying to make it that his father doesn't get sued into the ground.
the way the way that I just sort of think about this with John and Beth in particular, it's like they both think that they are walking around with this huge clunky like steel-plated armor around like every part of them, and they just think we are invulnerable. We are unstoppable. We are so confident when they don't realize even suits of armor have vulnerabilities, and they just Beth is not seeing the forest through the trees here. It's just like there's too much arrogance. And Beth is thoroughly entertaining character. Don't get me wrong here, but you can't assume that Jamie is just going to be like sitting back and doing your dirty work and doing everything you want forever. It is like you said, every person has a breaking point, and maybe she does think somewhere in the back of her head that okay, we're gonna get there eventually, but I'm just gonna like get every single drop of what I need to get out of Jamie beforehand. And as soon as that happens, I don't know, I'm going to just like punt him off somewhere else.
That's what I think is probably happening. Beth is extremely smart,
Yeah.
and she's watched Jamie unravel multiple times when pressure has been on him and on him and on him, and then he's just unraveled. So she knows that this is a very real possibility. It's very likely going to happen, but that in the meantime, she's just going to do her best to grind him up, continue to get him to play ball, and that the minute that he unravels, they'll deal with it then. And depending on how he unravels and what he does, that she's just kind of like, I'll just see how it goes. And when it happens, it happens.
This feels like a good time to bring up one of my possibly two favorite Yellowstone characters at the moment, Caroline Warner, head of
Oh
market
dear.
equity.
Oh my goodness.
I find her unintentionally hilarious just because, like, every time she shows up, she's either just like, I'm mumbling something under my breath. I am so powerful. She's like destroying her own property. Like, it's like, Caroline, somebody's gonna have to pay for this. I understand you're leading like this super powerful. And it's like, yeah, I'm obviously rooting for the Duttons, but it's just like, I love every single second that Caroline is on screen, even when she's just like, bring in the cavalry, bring in this one other woman who's just like, there's trouble. I get paid when there's trouble. It's like, okay, dial it back a little bit, please.
No, she's a good foil for them.
My other favorite character, Casey. Casey, this is why I love Casey. He feels like the only person in this world I can somewhat relate to because he just does not seem like he's aggro every single second of the day, and he actually tries to be human at times.
The person that I actually would relate to the most wasn't in these 2
Oh,
episodes, and that's Jimmy. So for me, I grew up in Canada, in Toronto, so I grew up in a city. So this whole idea of this show of sort of ranch life and country life and United States country life, all that type of stuff is I do not understand it. I've never been around it. So when I first started watching the show, I was like, I'm curious. I'm not sure if this is going to be for me because I just don't get it. But the characters were so compelling and the stories were so good. And then there was Jimmy, who was basically me, except maybe a little more of, a dummy. I like to think that I am not.
you were not.
But anyways, he was sort of the guy who was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm new to this
Yeah.
whole situation, which was really nice for someone like me who doesn't really know about ranching life to see it through someone else's eyes who is brand new as well. Now, he's not new anymore. We saw him last season. He went to Texas. Things really changed for him. And then he seemingly left with Emily. And where are they? Like, come on. We know that Emily is, supposed to be a regular with the cast, and Jimmy's a regular with the cast, and now we have 2 episodes and no Jimmy. I'm not really excited about that.
Okay. I feel like at some point, maybe episode 3, maybe episode 4, we're going to either see them in Texas, we're going to see them maybe called back for the ranch for some sort of important job. I hope they're not in Texas like the entirety of the season, and that's no offense as like
No.
somebody who, I grew up probably, I know the Four Sixes Ranch is like a real place. I grew up not that far away from it. And like, it'd be cool to, of course, see that. But I don't need the entire Jimmy storyline this season to be a setup for another potential show. It's just like, can we bring him back around the bunkhouse, people, please?
Yeah, I love the bunkhouse. I was always like, if there's going to be a spinoff, it just needs to be about the bunkhouse guys. I just want to see that. I could watch it all day. But Jimmy does need to be back as part of that. And what I'm kind of wondering is with things unraveling kind of the way that they were all around the ranch with
Yeah.
everything that was going on, that they just might need more people there, that maybe the staff just isn't big enough. There was a couple times they mentioned like, oh, how far does this go beyond what you can see kind of thing. And there are so many different things happening that they may just be like, Jimmy, we need you to come back, bring your fiance, come
Yep.
back and bring like 10 more guys with you.
Yeah, there's some real time constraint issues possibly with the bunkhouse right now, because it's like Rip has to kind of sort of manage the whole ranch a little bit more with John gone. He's married to Beth. He's got other things going on now. We've got Lloyd, who is probably still reeling from everything last season when he just stepped in it in so many different occasions.
Yeah, like there was such enough of a time jump from last season. We kind of got the feeling of that time jump where it was like John's just getting ready to run for governor. Now he's the governor. Monica just figured out she was pregnant. Now she's like really pregnant. So there was enough time that I thought maybe by episode 2 that they were going to be like, 8 months have passed or however long has passed. Let's just bring Jimmy back. But no, not yet.
We don't have Jimmy. I think we'll probably have Jimmy. I think there's a good chance Casey ends up getting called back to the ranch in some degree.
That's what I'm really hoping for. So, like you said, the idea of Jimmy being just off in Texas, we're going to have like a couple different storylines all over the place.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see them all sort of come back together. Casey, I really would like to see back there working with everybody, working at the ranch or helping his dad or whatever's going to be kind of going on, especially after everything that happened with the car accident. He almost lost his son. He almost lost his wife. He did lose the baby. They lost their baby, which was a son named John.
I know. That was brutal.
No, and so I mean, this is a time that he could come back. I mean, Monica's seemingly doing a little bit better every day. Their son is doing much better. It would be great to see Casey just back in the fold.
Well, here's the bad news, Casey. I have taken it upon myself to drive you back to the Dutton Ranch, but the unfortunate thing is I am driving you in the clown car because at the moment, I am sitting here with this deluded belief that everything is going to be okay for Casey. He's going to go back. He's going to help a little bit with the ranch. He's going to sort of work on getting things a little bit more established. His relationship with Monica will be fine. He'll be a good partner. And I understand. Here's the pie right in my face.
Oh, yeah, you're driving the clown car. I'm over here in the regular car where he has talked about that vision that he had where he's not going to be with Monica and that he has said that it's going to be a choice. And because he's like, but I would never make that choice. There's no circumstance which I would make that choice. Oh, we're going to see that this season. I feel it in my heart. By the end of the season, we are going to see something where he is in some sort of situation that the only way he can like save her life or help her in some sort of way is to leave her. There is going to be something that comes up where he does that for her.
Now that we're 14 minutes into this video, it's time to get to my biggest beef with it.
Oh.
Okay, I really like this. I really like these episodes. It's not so much what they gave us, it's just what they did not give us. Because I feel like sometimes...
Jimmy.
Yes, Jimmy, obviously.
Jimmy.
But it's like... This is pretty much 2.5 hours when you're putting in commercials, and there's a lot of sweeping vistas, a lot of slow-moving scenes, and it's like, we got a little bit of Thomas Rainwater, but at the same time, I want to know more of his plans. Like, I understand he is sort of in a mode where he kind of has to wait and see a little bit of what John is going to do as governor and how it affects his business. But I feel like a lot of times this show is just like, we're going to give you a taste, then we're just going to kind of blow everything up, and then we'll give you the answers afterwards. Can you guys just give me a little bit of the information beforehand? I mean, at the very least, with him, Rainwater's such a good character.
I think part of the issue with this show is that the cast is
Yeah,
huge. So there are so many different moving parts to all of this. Everybody has a stake in what's going on with whether or not this airport goes through. And that's what makes this so intense.
it is so unbelievably, and there's so many intense moments. There's so many even like weirdly funny moments in these episodes, including Jamie going out to introduce John pretty early on, and in the background, Beth and John are just like making fun of him out there having his speech.
It's going to be interesting to see how Caroline ends up using him, because there was a couple of people that were like, look how unhappy,
Yeah,
the son is. He's doing so bad. Who is he? Let's, put him on a hook and bring him in, sort of thing. And we all know how that ends up going. Whenever he's getting crushed like that, somebody comes in with a little worm on a hook, and then he's like, woo, and he's breaking free. So we're going to see how that ends up going.
you just brought back all these memories of last season where all of a sudden Randall was like, hey, look, Jamie, it's your family that
I
we've just
know.
plucked out of
Oh my
nowhere.
goodness.
All right, well, we will be here to talk
It
all
wasn't
about.
out of
It was
nowhere.
out of nowhere to me. I did not see that coming. I will.
No, I didn't either, but we knew they were out there.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll be here with all of season 5, so hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss that. Hang out with us at our metaphorical ranch, which is not a ranch at all, and we will see you here next time.